Los Angeles is a powder keg right now, and Donald Trump is showing up with a can of gasoline and a box of matches. In this breaking report, I'll walk you through how Trump is stoking chaos to justify the authoritarian crackdown he's always wanted. And just when cooler heads should prevail, top Republican Mike Johnson is backing Trump's threat to unleash the full force of the U.S. military on civilians. This isn't just reckless, it is dangerous, and lives will be at risk. I will have Trump's unprecedented military threat on U.S. soil and Johnson's mindless reaction for you in just a minute, but first some context that you will not believe. Have a look at this scene captured by an LA news cruise that signals that Trump's feds, the current force on the ground, are arming themselves for an offensive.
It's a surreal sight. This Black Hawk moved in just in the last few minutes from the Border Patrol, landing at that Homeland Security office on the Paramount side, right next to the Home Depot, and they are unloading this huge helicopter with, just boxes and boxes, dozens of boxes of ammunitions, less lethal weaponry. You see these tanks with flammable labels on the side, one after another, an entire shipment, as if they were getting ready for some kind of a major battle. It really has to be said, this is a remarkable sight in the middle of a suburban street here, where they are just unloading all of these weapons, carts full of boxes and flammable weaponry. So you can see that it just made its own parking spot there in the parking lot of that Homeland Security office on the other side of the river, where all of this is taking place, and just a few blocks from that Home Depot and right across the freeway from where that car fire was, just a few blocks away, and the protesters and sheriff's department had been squaring off. But this site here at the Homeland Security office of these federal officials unloading dozens of boxes of weapons and ammunition is just quite a sight to behold here. Something I really don't recall ever seeing here. Guys, back to you.
This is Donald Trump's America. And to continue on that theme, watch how his Director of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, plans on carrying out one of his weird authoritarian directives that shows just how unhinged he is and how unconditionally loyal she is.
President Trump said masks will not be allowed to be worn at protests. Who's going to enforce that, and how? And how can you justify it when law enforcement officials have their faces covered?
That the law is going to be enforced, and that what the laws are in this country is what we are doing, and our ICE officers and our law enforcement officers out there that are in these situations where people have questioned why they have their faces covered, it's for the safety of those individuals or the work that they're doing as far as protecting their identity so they can continue to do investigative work. So,
but are you tasking the National Guard soldiers with removing masks from protesters? Are you trying to use them in that way?
National Guard soldiers are there to provide security for operations and to make sure that we have peaceful protests. So that's what their work is. And I won't get more specific on that just because we never do when it comes to law enforcement operations. We're doing the same standard procedures we always do and have for years in this country with our National Guard and with our law enforcement folks that are on the ground working with these communities.
And now for the shocking Mike Johnson moment I promised. He was asked about Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth's post that said the United States Marine Corps could be activated against those Los Angeles protesters. As the leader of the House, you can count on him to provide a much-needed check and balance and bring a cooler head to the process, right? Think again.
Secretary Hegseth said that active duty Marines there at Camp Pendleton, there by San Diego, are on high alert and could be mobilized. Could we really see active duty Marines on the streets of Los Angeles?
One of our core principles is maintaining peace through strength. We do that on foreign affairs and domestic affairs as well. I don't think that's heavy-handed. I think that's an important signal.
You don't think sending the Marines into the streets of an American city is heavy-handed?
We have to be prepared to do what is necessary, and I think the notice that might happen might have the deterrent effect.
So Trump, Hegseth, and Johnson agree that the Marines might be needed to put down a protest that began at a Home Depot. This isn't about national security. It's about theater and racism. Team Trump likes to be extreme by calling illegal aliens invaders and criminals terrorists, and now they're calling these protesters insurrectionists. And that's the racist part when you consider that actual insurrectionists sporting red caps and white skin were pardoned by Trump. And now Trump is calling for the Marines with the most aggressive tactics and powerful weapons instead of trusting the National Guard to do their job. So where does the extremism end? It's a chilling and dangerous scenario when you consider the words of his first Secretary of Defense, Mark Esper. Have a listen as he describes Trump's desire then to fire upon protesters.